The 1950s were a decade of rebuilding across Britain. After the hardships of the Second World War, factories returned to full production, new roads became busier, and British cars were once again finding buyers around the world. Luxury saloons, stylish sports cars, and practical family vehicles rolled out of factories with high hopes for the future. It was a time of confidence and innovation. But not every British car became the success its makers had imagined. Some arrived with outdated engineering. Others promised luxury or performance but failed to deliver. A few simply couldn't compete with fast-moving rivals from Britain and overseas. Today, we're counting down 10 of the most disappointing British cars of the 1950s. Let's begin. Number 10. Singer SM1500. Our countdown begins with a car that struggled to keep pace with a changing market. The Singer SM1500 entered the 1950s carrying styling that already looked old-fashioned compared with newer family saloons arriving from Ford and Austin. Power came from a 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine. While dependable enough for everyday driving, it offered modest performance and quickly began to feel outdated as competitors introduced more modern designs. Inside, the cabin was comfortable and well-finished, with quality materials that reflected Singer's reputation for producing refined family cars. Many buyers appreciated its reliability and solid construction. Unfortunately, the SM1500 lacked the excitement and innovation needed to stand out in an increasingly competitive market. As new arrivals offered fresher styling and improved engineering, Singer's once-respected saloon gradually faded into the background. Today, it is remembered far less often than many of its competitors. Number 9. Daimler Conquest. During the early 1950s, Daimler wanted to attract a younger generation of luxury car buyers. The result was the Conquest, introduced in 1953. Its elegant styling successfully blended traditional British luxury with a slightly more modern appearance, giving the car plenty of showroom appeal. Power came from a 2.4-liter six-cylinder engine that delivered smooth performance, although many drivers expected stronger acceleration from a luxury saloon carrying the prestigious Daimler badge. Inside, the cabin featured polished wood trim, comfortable leather seating, and excellent craftsmanship throughout. Owners admired the quality of its interior and refined driving experience. However, the Conquest was expensive, relatively heavy, and struggled to compete against rivals that offered better performance or stronger value for money. Despite Daimler's reputation, the Conquest never achieved the commercial success the company had hoped for. Number 8. Jowett Jupiter. Some disappointments are remembered not because they were poorly designed, but because they deserved much better. The Jowett Jupiter, launched in 1950, was one of Britain's most technically advanced sports cars. Its lightweight construction and sophisticated suspension gave it outstanding handling, making it highly capable on both the road and the racing circuit. Power came from a 1.5-liter flat-four engine that delivered respectable performance for its size. Inside, the cabin remained simple and focused on driving, with little unnecessary luxury. Owners praised its balanced handling and enjoyable driving experience. The biggest problem was reliability. Early engines suffered from cooling issues that sometimes led to cracked cylinder heads. These expensive failures damaged customer confidence and placed enormous financial pressure on Jowett. Although the Jupiter enjoyed success in international motorsport, the company's declining finances eventually brought production to an end. It remains one of Britain's greatest examples of unrealized potential. Number 7. Vauxhall Victor. When the Vauxhall Victor arrived in 1957, it immediately caught people's attention. Inspired by contemporary American styling, it featured sweeping lines, generous chrome trim, and fashionable tail fins that made it look thoroughly modern. Power came from a dependable four-cylinder engine designed for comfortable family motoring rather than outright performance. Inside, buyers enjoyed a spacious cabin with good visibility and practical seating for everyday use. The Victor looked like exactly the kind of modern family car Britain needed. Unfortunately, appearances weren't everything. Early production suffered from poor rust protection, and many owners experienced corrosion far sooner than expected. Water leaks around the windscreen also became a common complaint. Although later improvements helped solve several issues, the Victor's early reputation had already suffered. For many buyers, style simply wasn't enough. Number 6. Bond Minicar. Closing Part 1 is one of the most unusual British vehicles of the decade. The Bond Minicar appeared at a time when affordable transport was desperately needed. Small, lightweight, and inexpensive to run, it provided basic mobility for thousands of post-war motorists. Power came from a tiny single-cylinder V8 two-stroke engine mounted at the front. It delivered modest performance but impressive fuel economy, which mattered greatly during the 1950s. Inside, the cabin was extremely basic, offering only the essentials needed for everyday travel. Owners appreciated its low running costs and simple mechanical design. However, compromises were everywhere. Early models had no conventional reverse gear because the engine could simply be restarted in reverse, an unusual solution that often surprised first-time drivers. The three-wheel layout, limited comfort, and noisy engine also meant it could never compete with full-size family cars. Even so, the Bond minicar played an important role in post-war Britain, despite falling well short of the expectations many buyers had for practical everyday transport. Number 5. Triumph Mayflower. As we enter the top 5, we come to a car that looked far more expensive than it actually was. The Triumph Mayflower, introduced in 1949 and sold into the early 1950s, was designed as a compact luxury saloon. Triumph hoped it would appeal to both British buyers and the lucrative American market. Its upright razor-edge styling certainly made it stand out. Inspired by larger luxury cars of the era, the Mayflower carried plenty of chrome and an unmistakably formal appearance. Power came from a 1.25-liter four-cylinder engine. While smooth enough for everyday driving, it struggled to move the relatively heavy body with any real enthusiasm. Inside, the cabin featured polished wood trim, comfortable seating, and a level of craftsmanship that reflected Triumph's ambitions. Buyers admired its premium feel. Unfortunately, the performance simply didn't match the luxurious appearance. American customers found it too small and too slow, while British buyers had fast alternatives available for similar money. Instead of becoming Triumph's international success story, the Mayflower quietly disappeared from the market. Number 4. Austin A90 Atlantic. Few British cars entered the 1950s with bigger ambitions than the Austin A90 Atlantic. Austin designed it specifically to win over American buyers, believing its bold styling and generous chrome would compete with popular cars from the United States. The Atlantic certainly looked impressive. Large bumpers, sweeping body lines, and distinctive detailing gave it a confident appearance that stood apart from most British cars. Power came from a 2.7-liter four-cylinder engine. Although reliable, it couldn't match the effortless performance of the affordable V8-powered American cars it was supposed to challenge. Inside, the Atlantic offered comfortable seating, quality materials, and equipment that was generous for its time. Many people appreciated its appearance and refinement. Sadly, its price and performance left buyers unconvinced. Sales in America were disappointing, and even at home it struggled to justify its cost. What should have been Austin's breakthrough export success instead became one of its biggest missed opportunities. Number 3. Reliant Regal. The Reliant Regal would eventually become one of Britain's best-known three-wheelers, but its early years were far from impressive. Introduced in 1953, it was designed to provide affordable transport while benefiting from lower taxation than conventional four-wheel cars. Its lightweight body helped keep running costs extremely low, making it attractive to buyers on tight budgets. Power came from a small four-cylinder engine that provided adequate performance for local journeys but little excitement beyond that. Inside, the cabin was simple and functional, offering basic seating and straightforward controls. Owners appreciated its affordability and excellent fuel economy. However, the Regal also suffered from noticeable engine vibration, limited refinement, and handling that never inspired complete confidence. Although later versions became much improved, the early models earned a reputation for feeling more like a compromise than a proper family car. Even so, the Regal eventually became an unmistakable part of British motoring history. Number 2. Standard 8. Sometimes saving money comes at a cost. When the Standard 8 arrived in 1953, it was designed to offer Britain's families an inexpensive and economical new car. To achieve that goal, Standard removed almost every unnecessary feature. Power came from a compact 803 cubic centimeters four-cylinder engine that delivered dependable but modest performance. Inside, the cabin was extremely basic, with little in the way of luxury or comfort. Early versions became particularly famous for lacking an external boot lid. Owners had to fold the rear seats forward to access luggage, an inconvenience that many buyers found frustrating. While affordability helped attract customers, the Standard 8 soon appeared outdated as competitors introduced better-equipped family cars with more practical designs. It fulfilled its purpose as cheap transportation, but few people dreamed of owning one. Its lack of refinement makes it one of the decade's biggest disappointments. Number 1. Jensen 541. Taking the top spot is a car that had almost everything needed for success. The Jensen 541 arrived in 1954 as one of Britain's most advanced grand touring cars. Its sleek fiberglass body gave it a modern appearance while helping reduce weight. Combined with excellent aerodynamics, the car offered impressive high-speed performance that rivaled many prestigious European competitors. Power came from a 4.0-liter six-cylinder engine, delivering smooth and effortless performance perfectly suited to long-distance touring. Inside, buyers found beautifully crafted leather seats, polished wood trim, and a luxurious cabin that reflected Jensen's attention to detail. Owners praised its comfort, refinement, and outstanding road manners. So why is it number 1? Simply because so few people bought one. The Jensen 541 was expensive to build, produced in limited numbers, and lacked the dealer network needed to compete with larger manufacturers like Jaguar. It deserved far greater recognition than it received. Today, enthusiasts regard it as one of Britain's finest grand tourers of the 1950s, but during its own lifetime it never achieved the success its engineering truly deserved. Looking back today, these cars tell an important story about Britain's motor industry during the 1950s. Some promised luxury but lacked performance. Others introduced clever ideas that failed to win buyers over. A few simply couldn't compete against changing markets and stronger rivals. Yet each of them reflects the ambition of an industry determined to rebuild after the war. Even the disappointments helped shape the future of British motoring, teaching valuable lessons that influenced the generations of cars that followed. Sometimes history remembers only the winners, but the cars that fell short often have the most fascinating stories to tell. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this countdown, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which disappointing British car from the 1950s surprised you the most.